Another month of the Royals season has come to an end. August has been completed, and it is time to go over the month of August before we head into the final month of the season, which is, of course, September. Our Royals are sitting at 67 and 70 on the year. They have dropped below 500, and of course, with that, they have lost their first place spot in the AL Central, as the Minnesota Twins are now in first place. We are 1.5 games back of them, and then only 2 games back of them are the Detroit Tigers. This division, so awful that it's possible that a team with a losing record could win the division. But I'm not going to sit here for minutes and minutes and minutes ranting about how bad this division has been, because I've been doing it for pretty much every monthly recap for this series. We're just going to head straight into how our team has done so far through August. So, Travis Jankowski, 31 stolen bases as the 4th outfielder, which is 3rd in the American League. He's got a 7.55 OPS, which is mainly because of his 3.64 OBP, and that is good to see because he is the new leadoff hitter against right-handed pitching. He is a left-handed bat, much better hitter against right-handers than he is left-handers, so he's leading off against righties. And then Craig Gentry, who hasn't really done too well this year, he's been hurt, but he is still hitting well against lefties, is now the leadoff man against lefties. As far as the league leaders on the pitching side of things goes, Kelvin Herrera has 39 saves, which is good enough for 3rd in the American League. Jake Junis has only allowed 31 walks this year, which is 3rd in the AL as well. And then Danny Duffy is scattered all throughout the league leaders. He's 9th in ERA with a 3.06. He is 4th in WHIP with a 1.07. And then his 4.1 WAR is 3rd in the American League as well. Taking a look at some of the bats on our team, Jorge Soler now leads the Royals in home runs with 22 on the year. I believe that is higher than his last season total, so he's got a chance, if he has a good month of September, to even have a 30 home run season. He would have to obviously hit 8 in this month, but it is possible, but probably not likely because Soler isn't the biggest power bat, but we can hope that he does have a 30 home run season. He has a 7.98 OPS, so he's done pretty well for us. He was in the 2-hole while Moustakas was out, and Moustakas, speaking of him, is back from his injury. He's got an 8.77 OPS in the year, 16 home runs. He probably would have had like 40 home runs, at least 30 home runs, if he didn't get hurt for 2 months, but he did. He's still going to be getting traded in the offseason. The thing with him is that obviously he's on a 1-year deal because he accepted the qualifying offer. We couldn't have traded him because he was injured at the trade deadline, and now what we're going to do in the offseason is we're going to offer him a qualifying offer. If he doesn't accept it, then good, we get a compensation pick for him. If he does accept it, then we're still going to trade him because he's not a part of our plans. We have things in motion. We have young guys ready to come up at certain positions, and he is not going to be our 3rd baseman next year no matter what. So this is the Moustakas' last year in a Kansas City Royal uniform. Tommy Joseph, our DH, with a 7.98 OPS. He's got 18 home runs already on the year. He's only played, he missed like the first full 2 months of the season, so 18 home runs is pretty impressive. He could definitely finish with 20 plus. I mean, he only needs to hit 2 to have 20, so it's definitely possible for a guy whose main skill is the fact that he hits home runs. And as it's standing right now, it does look like he is going to be our DH next season, while Falvey is going to still be in AAA developing his bat, even though Falvey could step in even right now and be our DH. Jorge Bonifacio with a 7.63 OPS, 16 home runs. His power bat has definitely been much better than it was last year. Him and Soler wanted to see start picking up power gradually throughout as this franchise progressed, and they're definitely doing that, so it's good to see. Whit Merrifield, 7.61 OPS, 9 home runs. The guy can play everywhere. The guy's trade value is definitely pretty decent. Basically, what we're going to do with him is we're going to do a sign-and trade with him, sign him to probably like a 2-3 year deal in the offseason, and then trade him for maybe a reliever, like a really solid reliever, because as we all know, bullpen is a huge need for us. We have way too many holes in that bullpen, and next year, in this offseason, it's going to be a huge priority for us to improve that bullpen, but we still have 1 month of the season to get through, and then if we make the playoffs, to do before we head into that offseason. Hunter Dozier has been quite disappointing, to be honest. He had a very hot start, or he had a good power start to the year. He was hitting a lot of home runs, not doing much else, and then he had like 1 or 2 really hot months where he got his average up and his OPS was like mid 700s. Now it's exactly at 708. He's only got 16 home runs, which, I mean, you may be looking at that like Bonifacio only has 16, and you thought that was decent, but Dozier had like 12, 13, 14 home runs through like the first 2 months of the season. So, I mean, he's just completely stopped hitting home runs for the past, like, 2-3 months. It's not good to see, and it's definitely not good to see from him because really all he brings to the table on the offensive side is hitting home runs, and he's really not doing that. So, he's probably going to be our first baseman to start next year, but there are options to take over for him if he does not perform. And then also, you never know what's going to happen in the offseason, what we get for certain trades, who we sign. Many things can happen, but as it stands right now, he is still our best option as the first baseman. Ramon Torres has been quite disappointing at the plate. He came up mid-season last year when we traded Alcides Escobar to be their shortstop, and he had a good offensive year in the second half of the year, and he showed that he's outstanding with the glove. And now this year, he has just been not very good with the glove, or he's been absolutely insane with the glove, but he's been not very good at the plate. Disappointing to see, but I mean, we really don't have any immediate options at shortstop. Obviously, Nicky Lopez is out in AAA, or he's in AA right now. He'll be in AAA next year. There's Stefan Velasquez, who's probably got another year or two of developing before he's Major League ready. There is Jurickson Profar, but I look at him as more of like a bench utility guy, so he's going to get a ton of at-bats and a ton of opportunities, but I don't think he's the everyday shortstop solution, especially since I think he's more valuable as like a Ben Zobrist, Brock Holt type guy who is going to be basically playing like almost every day, but he's going to be playing at different positions every day just based on where he needs to play or who's tired or just what we have lacking that day. And taking a look at our pitching, Jose Urena has 35 innings pitched so far with a 2.06 ERA. He's been called up from AAA. He took Adam Conley's spot. Both of them are former Marlins, and he's definitely been the more impressive of the two. Conley is just 100% not being brought next year. He's not going to be offered. He's just going to walk into free agency because we won't offer him arbitration. And then Urena is probably going to be our number 5 starter this upcoming year. He's definitely proven himself. We are probably going to lose Tyson Ross, maybe one other starter, but Urena and Hahn have definitely proven themselves as guys who have solidified their rotation spots. So we're probably going to have one opening in the rotation for next year. Is that going to be a young guy who we have in AAA right now, or is that going to be a guy who we sign, maybe a veteran guy in the offseason? I don't know. We still have things to do. There's many things that can happen in the offseason. We'll see how it all happens in the offseason. But as it stands right now, Urena's spot in the rotation does look pretty solid. Trevor Rosenthal is a guy who we signed to a 1-year deal in this past offseason. He missed all of 2018 with covering from Tommy John surgery, and he has not been good in 2019. In 26 and a third innings pitched, he has a 6.84 ERA, close to 7. And now, if you don't know, you should not be judging relievers based on their ERA, but when a reliever has a 7 ERA, essentially, you can judge him on that, because no reliever should have a 7 ERA. That's definitely not good. He also walks way too many people. You can't see it on the screen. I don't know the exact number, but I believe he has, like, in 26 and the third innings pitched, he has, like, 18 walks, 19 walks. It's not good. So Rosenthal, not going to be back next year. Plus, he's shut down for the rest of the year with shoulder inflammation. So Rosenthal not being... he's pitched his last game in a Royals uniform is what I'm saying. And as far as guys who are going to be called up with the September call-ups in this upcoming month, there are guys like Miguel Almonte, who's been in our system. He's an actual player. He's got 44 strikeouts and 50 innings pitched in AAA. He's been a reliever for them. He has the issue, once again, where his walks per 9 rating is not the best. So if I called him up to the major leagues and he was a key piece in like our bullpen or our rotation one of these years, he would have the same issue we're having right now, where we have way too many guys who are walking way too many people. So that's good, not good to see. Not really sure what his future is here. As far as the other guys, there's Luis Sessa, who we got in the Yankees trade with Hamill, along with Miguel Andujar, who I'm going to get into a bit later on in this episode, but Sessa wasn't the main piece in that trade. Obviously, that was Andujar. Sessa was kind of a throw-in the guy to maybe be like a depth starter or a reliever for us. He hasn't really been that. He's been a AAA guy. He hasn't really pitched in the major leagues besides at the end of 2018. But the thing about him is he has 2 of 3 options left. So once he gets called up in the September call-ups, and then say he doesn't make the opening day roster next year, he's going to have 3 out of 3 minor league options used, and then if we call him up again, we have to send him through waivers, and he has to clear through waivers before he gets back down to AAA. So that's not good to see, but once again, he isn't the biggest piece of our team, so I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Trevor Oaks, same thing. He's been with us. He's a B potential. He's getting up there as a more older prospect. He's 26. He'll be 27 next year. Same deal with him. 2 out of 3 options. There's also Jesus Castillo, who we got in the Alcides Escobar to the Angels trade, where we got back Jake Jewell and Jesus Castillo. Castillo, once again, 2 out of 3 options. He was on the Angels 40-man, so he transferred over to our 40-man. I personally would not have had him on that, but that's just how the cards are. So Castillo, same deal with him, 2 out of 3 options. He's once again not the biggest part of our team. Jake Jewell was the main piece in that trade, plus it was a guy who was on the end of his deal, so we weren't looking to get like someone who's going to be the next superstar for the Royals. But Castillo, if we do lose him, it will be kind of sad, but it's not the most disappointing thing in the world. But we still have 1 more option left for him. And then Miguel Andujar has the same issue where he has 2 out of 3 options, but it's probably, I'd say, like a 99.9% chance that he's going to be our third baseman, everyday third baseman in the 2020 Season 3 year. So Andujar has 2 out of 3 options, but he'll make the opening day roster next year, so he'll still have 2 out of 3 options heading into next season. If we send him down again, then he'll have 3 out of 3. Let's say he doesn't do well, and we're in June, and he's still performing like shit. Then he'd probably get sent down, and we'll figure out who will play third base. But as it stands right now, he's going to be sticking at that 2 out of 3 options for probably all of next year, and hopefully forever, because we don't want to send him back down, because we want him to be our longtime third baseman. But with that being said, that is going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Kansas City Royals franchise. We have gone through the month of August, now heading into the month of September. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I'm saying goodbye.
I was living in a devil town. I didn't know it was a devil town. Oh Lord, it really brings me down about the devil town.